Binibining Pilipinas is one of the most reputable, long-lasting, and impactful pageants in the history of the Philippines. Not only they have made history for the Philippines several times delivering international crowns from all different pageant systems, but they have also left their mark on Filipino culture, popular culture, and most importantly, the heart of Filipinos. This year, Binibining Pilipinas will be celebrating their 60th anniversary. That's definitely a reason to celebrate, and although most of the conversation around this topic is very positive, there are whispers out there saying that the pageant is slowly but surely losing its sparkle. In other words, there has been a broad conversation about the slow death of Binibining Pilipinas as an organization as well as a relevant pageant in the Philippines. Today, I'm going to be giving you guys my own take on this question, and I will be discussing with you guys some of the factual evidence that we can track about some of the changes within Binibini, the slow decrease in popularity, some of the things that they are still doing right up until this day, and some of the potential solutions that I would offer if I was in a situation where I could advise the group of people taking care of Binibining Pilipinas as an institution. Alright everyone, let's rip off the band-aid and start talking about this topic. When you look at the viewership of Binibining Pilipinas going back from a couple of years up until now, it is clear and undeniable that the popular interest, and when I mean popular, I mean by the general public, has been slowly but surely decreasing. I personally became a fan of Binibining Pilipinas back in 2021. That was the very first edition that I ever followed, that I ever covered, that I ever watched from abroad when I was living in Montreal, Canada. And I remember at the time when I was becoming a pageant fan, I just covered Miss Universe 2020. And right after that ended, I was left with this empty spot in my heart. Basically, I needed to find something else to follow because I had just found a new passion in pageantry. So many of you guys suggested, Luis, you should watch Binibining Pilipinas. Trust me, although it is a national pageant, you will not regret it. The girls are beautiful, the show is amazing, they have an incredible legacy, and of course, I decided to listen to all of you guys. And guess what? You were right. Binibining Pilipinas 2021 was a great edition, super fun to watch. I became extremely passionate about this particular pageant system, and although they were just recovering from the pandemic, they still delivered an incredible show. I myself have mentioned in other occasions that Binibining Pilipinas, although it is a national competition, delivers an international caliber. I'm sure I don't have to explain that too much for you guys to understand what I'm saying. But going back to facts, it is also undeniable that from one year to another, there has been a drastic drop in viewership and popularity when it comes to Binibini, especially when it comes to the hype of the candidates and the conversations surrounding the pageant on social media. This is something that can be easily verified by simply going on YouTube, looking for the shows and their respective years, and just comparing the viewership from a couple of years to what we can expect from today's perspective. I mean, as a content creator who makes content about pageants, I feel like my videos from a couple of years ago talking about Binibini compared to videos that I might be putting out nowadays received only a portion of the viewership that they had back then. This is one of the main reasons why I will say that you have noticed a drastic drop in conversations surrounding the pageant, whether it is on social media or even from pageant bloggers like myself covering the pageant. Little disclaimer right here, a lot of us don't necessarily just do it for the viewership. I mean, I would be more than happy to put out content about Binibini, even if I know that it will only reach a couple thousand people. But for the most part, when you think about traditional media and some online media as well, their main focus is reach. They want to obtain clicks. They want to attract viewers because that is how they monetize their content. We also have to recognize that today, more than ever, Binibini is facing fierce competition in the field of pageantry. A couple of years ago, Binibini was pretty much the sole owner of most of the major crowns in the world. So whoever wanted to represent the Philippines internationally at one of these very prestigious competitions, they had no other option than to go through the Binibini system. Nowadays, more major pageants demand for their own franchise holder and for their standalone pageant to be held, which means that Binibini has lost most of the major titles that were part of its roster. This also implies that the viewership and the public attention has been shattered. When before, most pageant fans will tune into Binibini to see which queen will get which crown, today they get to select what pageant they're mostly interested in and simply follow that competition. I would say that the major loss of Binibini was a couple of years ago when they lost the franchise for Miss Universe. I think that the most drastic change occurred in the last 2 years when Binibini lost simultaneously the franchises for Miss Intercontinental and Miss Grand International. Miss International, more precisely, it is still one of the 4 biggest pageants in the world with a huge legacy and a brilliant reputation. So Binibining still holds the bragging right for this competition, and Miss Stella being the very first Miss International, I believe is a title that it's pretty much cemented in Binibining and is not going anywhere anytime soon. So whatever happens, Binibining will always have at least 1 crown. On the other hand, they also have the title for Miss Globe Philippines. In my opinion, is a cute addition to the rosters, but to be honest, Miss Globe hasn't necessarily developed just yet an identity that fans will attach the prototype of a Miss Globe to a specific type of queen. Because of this, it's quite difficult to envision any of the queens to win the title of Miss Globe because truthfully, it is anyone's game. I also think that there isn't much going on with Miss Globe after the coronation night. We don't hear a lot about travels, advocacy projects. So after the coronation night of Miss Globe, the fans realistically have very little to look forward to. And that is one of the things that here in the Philippines, the pageant fans really love. Being a queen is not a matter of just one night and being crowned. It's a year-long responsibility of activities, of philanthropy, of giving back to your community, of giving visibility to issues that are close to your heart. And out of the 2 titles that Binibining currently holds, only one of those crowns matches that description. And it's not the one for Globe, I'll tell you that. We also have to take a moment to address the loss of Miss Grand International. Now, hold up, because I know that a lot of you will tell me, Luis, you were never the biggest fan of Miss Grand International, and you know what? You're technically right. For many reasons, Miss Grand International was never my cup of tea. And let me make this very clear. I never had a problem with the pageant itself. I never had a problem with the girls. I never had a problem with the message or the approach that they have to pageantry. I very often found myself having a problem with the things that were being said by the owner of the pageant. So it is truly a disagreement in values, in perspective, and the way that the girls were being treated. Nothing to do with the pageant. I actually find Miss Grand International quite entertaining. Another thing that we need to acknowledge is that pageant fans in the Philippines, as much as they love travel and advocacy and looks and philanthropy, they also love beauty pageants for the entertainment of it, for the drama of it, for the glam of it, for the fun of it. And that is something that Miss Grand International was able to bring for Binibining Pilipinas. It doesn't matter which edition of the pageant you were watching, knowing that some of the girls were competing for Miss Grand International added a level of performance and drama on stage that a lot of us could look forward to. Understanding the difference between Miss Grand International and Miss International is essential to understand that once Miss Grand International has been removed from the rosters of crowns of Binibining Pilipinas, the prototype of girls who would apply for the pageant is a completely different prototype. These girls that are now applying are a little bit more centered on the look, on the behavior, on carrying themselves in a very regal way, very conservative manner, which to the view of a lot of pageant fans takes away from the entertainment aspect of the competition. And as I mentioned earlier, the Miss Globe title can be assigned to anyone because there is no specific prototype. So whoever of these girls who doesn't obtain the title for Miss International is doing well, they could technically still represent the Philippines at Miss Globe in Albania. Another thing that is definitely not helping Binibining at the moment is the fact that whoever gets crowned as Miss International Philippines needs to wait 1 year to compete. Honestly, in my opinion, this stretches the process way too much for the pageant fans. It also stretches it too much for the girls. We want to support the girl as soon as she is crowned. We want to see her preparation in real time. We want to make sure that we are part of the process, that we feel like we are walking along every single step with her. When the competition is postponed 1 year, not only the girl kind of fades into the background for a while because she needs to kind of go back to her normal life, she needs to still prepare, but not in an intensive manner. Simultaneously, by the time that the girl gets to compete internationally, her replacement in the country has already been crowned. Die-hard pageant fans will follow the competition and will support the girl no matter what, but the general public has a short memory. They will not remember the girl who was crowned 1 year ago. If anything, they might think that is the one that was just crowned that is supposed to represent the country internationally during the current edition. Those are some of the aspects that are currently hurting Binibining Pilipinas, the visibility and the hype of the competition, but I would also like to highlight some of the things that they are doing very well, because to be honest, to say that Binibini is only going downhill, it is an unfair statement, and in my opinion, a lot of national organizations can still take notes from Binibining Pilipinas. Now, whether you like the crowns that they have to offer or not, it is undeniable that Binibining Pilipinas still attracts a very high level, very high caliber of candidates. Just look at the list of candidates that are currently competing at Binibining Pilipinas 2024 and you will see beautiful girls. And not just beautiful, but a variety of girls who represent Filipina beauty in all of its forms, shapes, and different facets. In that sense, I think that Binibini is a great platform for Filipino beauty. It is a great platform for talent. It is a great platform for craftsmanship. So whenever you are watching Binibining Pilipinas, it doesn't matter which year, which edition, you are definitely going to get the Filipino experience of beauty. And this goes back to what I was just telling you earlier. Binibining Pilipinas is closely attached already to popular culture in the country, and I will go even further to say Binibining Pilipinas is part of Filipino culture. Regardless of whatever crowns they might have each year, Binibining Pilipinas has done so much for the country, and the queens that have been elected over the years have already left their own mark in Filipino history. Some of them have become incredible businesswomen, entertainers, spokespersons, CEOs, influencers, you name it, the list goes on and on and on. So as of right now, considering the history of Binibining Pilipinas, their incredible legacy, and the proved success of their former title holders, I think that Binibining Pilipinas just focused on selecting the best candidates to represent not just the Philippines internationally, but to represent the country. Make the reign of the queen relevant, interesting, and impactful within the country by giving them opportunities that they wouldn't have in any other competition. Talking about opportunities, and one of the reasons why Binibining Pilipinas is still one of the strongest competitions in the country, it is because Binibini as an organization has deep pockets. We all know that the Binibining Pilipinas is only one of the branches of the Araneta Group, which owns a huge amount of businesses in the Philippines, not just in the beauty pageant industry, but businesses going from hotels, malls, venues, you name it. Since they have so much diversity in their businesses, they're easily able to attract sponsors, whether it is from a food chains, from jewelry, from shampoo companies, from whatever it is that they need, the Aranetas are definitely able to get it. This also adds to one of the strengths of the competition, which is that Binibini is an independent platform. Certainly, they do have sponsors, they do collaborate with companies here in the country who would appreciate the visibility that comes with the competition, but simultaneously, Binibini doesn't rely on those sponsors to make it all happen. They need to put up a show, they have Araneta Coliseum. They need to put up a smaller show, they have the Frontier Theater. They need a place for the girls, they have the Novotel Hotel. They need food for the girls, they can be sponsored by Pizza Hut, which happens to be one of the partners in Araneta City. So in a day and age when pageantry in the country is becoming more and more competitive and everyone is looking left and right for sponsors in order to survive, in order to pay the very high fees of licensing, of supporting a title holder and putting together a whole production for a pageant, Binibining Pilipinas has, I would say, a certain advantage in that sense because they already have a very thick bank account that can take and can hold the pageant for years to come. So when you think about all of the pros and cons, the reasons why Binibini is slowly losing visibility in the country, and at the same time, some of the things that they are still leading in the arena of pageantry, I would like to propose a couple of solutions for these particular matters. In my opinion, honestly, there is always another chance to grow, to gain visibility, and I think that with the right strategy, Binibini is no exception to this. The first thing that I will do if I was part of the Binibining Pilipinas team, it will be to just focus mainly on Filipino heritage, Filipino culture, and just giving visibility to all of the incredible things that the Philippines as a country can offer. As I was telling you earlier, Binibini is already part of pop culture with all of their iconic beauty queens. They are already part of Filipino culture with the whole heritage of beauty pageants. Just take a look at how impactful it has been all throughout the history of the country. And they have consolidated a place in the heart of Filipinos. Just because of that, Binibini will always have a core audience that will check on them every single year, even if it's just to see who's competing, who has potential to win which crown, and are they going to be a fair representative for the Philippines. Focus on uplifting those things that people love and appreciate and celebrating what makes the country unique. Now, talking about titles, I do agree that Miss International should remain the #1 title of Binibining Pilipinas, but I do also think that they need more crowns. Not just because they need to award more titles, it creates more opportunities for the girls and simultaneously it attracts more eyeballs. When people hear more crowns, suddenly we have more hype, everyone is making their predictions of who's gonna get which title. Bloggers are suddenly more interested because there is more crowns that we can talk about and we can interview girls and we can ask them which crown they're going for. And perhaps with a little diversity, we will get different types of performances, different prototypes of girls, which ultimately will also benefit the competition. Having said that, I would invite the organization to focus on getting similar crowns that also align with the branding of Miss International. Going back to my previous example of Miss Grand International, I do feel like Miss Grand International was bringing visibility and hype to the competition. There was too much of a drastic difference between the main title and Miss Grand. So often it will feel like the batches of girls will be split into different groups. The ones that were going for Miss International, the ones that were going for Miss Grand, and then you had those in between that could potentially go for Miss Globe or for Miss Intercontinental. I think that if we focus on getting other smaller titles that align a little bit more with Miss International, it could be a great way to help the competition, to help the pageant continue its growth over time while maintaining a very specific and immaculate branding. Last but not least, and honestly, they are already doing it, go big with the prizes, go big with the cash incentives, go big with the donations, go big with the scholarships. As I said earlier, Binibini has deep pockets. They don't rely on the pageant. They don't depend on the final show to make money. Binibini can tap into a variety of things. And you know, they just announced that the winners of the competition will get each 1 million pesos and the first runner-up 400,000 pesos. That is already incredible. I also believe that they committed to making some donations for charity, and I also know that the winners of Binibini get certain scholarships. I would say continue growing that, continue creating more opportunities for the girls, because at the end of the day, regardless of what titles you have to offer, where there is an opportunity, women will show up. Women will give their best to have access to those things, especially in a country like the Philippines, where there is still such a big gap within the society. Some girls can only go for this type of opportunities in order to have access to higher education and more promising careers. By doing that, they're not only giving opportunities to the girls, but they're also giving a brighter future to Filipino women, which at the end of the day ties right back into the mission of the competition. Anyways, all I can say as a fan and as someone who has been following Binibini for a couple of years is that I love this competition, regardless if 1 million people watch it or only 2 of us are watching. I think that Binibini is beautiful for what it is, for what it represents, for what it embodies, for the legacy that it has, for the queens that they already gave us. And I'm sure that for years to come, they will continue giving us quality pageant and quality queens. Anyways, I don't know about you, but I am very excited to see Angelica Lopez competing in Miss International. I am very excited for this year's edition, the 60th. I hear is going to be glossy, incredible. So many of the queens will be present. And you know, in all scenarios, I will be watching, I will be rooting for them, and I will be supporting no matter what. Let me know, how do you feel about this conversation in the comment section down below. Do you think this is the end of Binibining Pilipinas? Do you think that the competition is slowly dying or simply transforming, simply evolving over time? I'm curious to hear your take on that. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you on the next one.